So, hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And I disagree. I have not seen Dave Chappelle's new special, The Closer, but Eric Deegans from NPR, he has a review of The Closer. And while I must admit, a lot of comedians say stuff about as long as it's funny, as long as it's funny, and I don't agree with that. It's not okay as long as it's funny. Um, yeah, but Mr. Degans, Eric Degans, he has a Degans, I don't know. He has a review of The Closer, where his title for it is "For Dave Chappelle, Punchlines Are Dares. His new special, The Closer, Goes Too Far." Um, the centerpiece, I think, the best example of him saying that Dave Chappelle goes too far is that there's a joke in the special that is about plot for a movie. And in the plot for this movie, there are people who leave Earth, an ancient civilization which discovered space travel, left the planet, and then came back determined to claim the Earth for their own. And the punchline of his title for the film is Space Jews. Um, in reading it, it's not really that funny, but I instantly get the the point of view, and I don't know if Mr. Gans make a big joke about a big fuss about how this is anti-Semitism and this is it's in the Bible, unless I am like confused. That's the story of the Jews having left um, where they were living to go to Egypt. Um, I presume to come back to the same place that they left and to take over the place. Has anybody read the Bible? The Bible, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in the Bible about people fighting with the Jews, and then there's a lot of stuff about the Jews slaughtering people, kill everything, man, women, and children, and the young women you can take for your slaves. I think anybody who is like thinks that this punchline, this joke by Dave Chappelle, is anti-Semitic, they haven't read the Bible. I want to say something worse than that. Um, but yeah, I have you read the Bible? Have you read that when Moses came down from the mount with his the list of laws, and he found them worshiping the calf, he commanded that everybody who did it be killed? That was Jew on Jew crime. Have people read that? And then this joke from Dave Chappelle, I don't think people who have read um, this stuff, this joke is it's they get a pass from this for me. I don't understand how anybody looks at this. And let me be straight. People have done, Jews have suffered tremendously in throughout the ages. They've suffered um, under Romans. They've suffered throughout the ages in terms of Shakespeare, and then there's Shylock, and then there's that image. I think that guy from H3 podcast, he said it best when Trisha brought up the fight that you're being such a Jew. It's like, who doesn't love money? What kind of crap is this? Like, Jews love, they have a stronger love for money than other people. That's absolutely ridiculous. Um, and I just wanted to point out that my belief is I think that Jews, as minorities, um, it can't be denied that they are not like the Roma people. They're not like black people in terms of the Jews have suffered 100%. But there are a lot of minorities who, while remaining minorities, have never been able to rise to positions where they are actually even discussed in a play of Shakespeare's where they're being denigrated. I am sure that there were Roma people around that time, And if you hear anybody, I saw a documentary or a clip of a documentary where people were discussing the Roma people in in Europe. And of course, I guess, they went around and they got the worst um, people compilations of people saying things, but people said some terrible things about the Roma people. And the thieves and the disgusting, they're untrustworthy and blah 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 blah. It was just um, as it is right now. And this is stuff that come at me if you want with respect to if I'm being anti-Semitic by saying these things. But according to the Jerusalem Post and other Jewish sources, the Jewish rabbis, a Jewish rabbi, one rabbi at least, Jewish people make up the like 30% of the top 1,000 billionaires in the world, the richest people in the world. And if the top 30 people in the world are Jewish or of Jewish descent, those are facts that an outlet like the Jerusalem Post, shy away from that. George Soros, what's this guy's name? Zuckerberg, um, that guy from Google, one of the guys from Google, this guy from Oracle, Larry Ellison. There's a whole bunch of people who are really, really rich who happen to be Jewish people. And honestly, I have a thing about that, which is simply that what other minority has a book about them that even Muslim people know about this book? They read this book about these heroes that are Jewish people. No other minority has that. So yes, horrible things have been done to the Jews, but I think a lot of it is jealousy that from the time that you are an infant, you are reading the book of a particular group of people, their history, what they wrote about the beginning of the world and everything. And does that make me, I was once wondering, okay, well, how many Jewish people are in the world? Because there's so much fuss about Jewish people. There's anti-Semitic, there's even a word about it. Apparently there's like 15 million Jewish people in the world. And I was like, there's not even like 500 million, 15 million people? And yeah, apparently there's a lot of people who are maybe of Jewish descent, but apparently it's expensive to be Jewish. Some of the things that are involved, um, I don't know, not Passover necessarily, is it? Maybe the foods, maybe the attire, maybe whatever. It's expensive. So a lot of people, when they don't think that they can afford to be Jewish anymore. I'm not talking about last year. I'm talking about historically through the ages. They just drop Judaism. And a lot of Jewish people have been forced to convert in the Inquisition and in various countries. I'm sure if there were in Islamic countries. But yeah, I'm getting away from Dave Chappelle. Um, there may be things that I find to be offensive in um, Dave Chappelle's show, and I think everybody thinks that they're objective, right? Everybody thinks that they are being objective, and I think that I'm being objective. One of the other things that Mr. Digans is saying, he happens to be black, so I guess that's why they had him write this piece, so it wouldn't seem like he was being racist, I guess. Um, he was saying that Dave Chappelle makes a lot of jokes about the LGBTQ community. Um, and people accuse him of punching down. And he was saying at the end of the piece that he wrote, he's like, if I were from the LGBTQ community, and one of the things he says is that Dave Chappelle says that people from the gay community um, only they waffle. So they can, one minute they're gay and they'll affirm that, and next minute they might affirm that they are white. So he's saying that a gay person called the cops on him when he had a confrontation with this person. And he was saying, well, hey, you're a minority, you're gay, for if you're being, um, if somebody is doing something to you, and the next minute you are going to be white if it comes down to somebody being, um, somebody that you feel is a minority, uh, and they're a threat to you, then you might call the police or whatever it is. So I think that it is kind of, I don't know, it's just altogether weird that you have somebody who is like this, who is punching down or saying that Mr. Chappelle should uh, X or Y or Z or W, when I think that's a valid point. I think it's a valid point that people, yeah, they sometimes use whatever minority status they might have to um, get what they want to get at a particular moment. But I don't know. I kind of lost my train of thought there. My my mom came to try to do something. I don't know what the heck she was doing there, but she knows that I'm trying to record something. And anyway, so back to Dave Chappelle. There might be things that I find to be offensive in the closer, but honestly, if you wanted to go after Dave Chappelle, there's much worse stuff that you could. I laughed at this stuff, like he was talking about the boys who accused, or the men who accused Michael Jackson of molesting them, and if it was a joke, of course, and I'm sure they and their families would not find it funny necessarily, but the idea was that if you're going to be molested and you're being molested by the king of pop, life only gets better from there. It's like the best of whatever. And that's kind of disgusting. If you want to focus, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of, I think it was Tia or Tamara from Sister Sister. And she was reading comments where somebody was saying, why don't you kill yourself, blah, 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 blah. And she was crying, she was just weeping. And because she was reading it slowly and thinking, oh my God, I can't believe somebody would say that to me. I would never say that to somebody. Yeah, well, in their family, they probably tell each other that every day, and it's not a big deal. And I understand that if you are not used to it, it's gonna be like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. And I have friends who are like that, and they don't understand that, or they want me to toughen up with them. I don't want to toughen up with them. If that's what your family is like, I just don't want to be around that. I understand that it's not unique to me, I'm not special. Um, and I guess if I go all the way back to Dave Chappelle, the idea is that, it's funny, it's meant to be funny, and okay. Maybe if I internalize that and I say, hey, some of these things are not really jokes. I think that maybe, okay, this is not my cup of tea. I should not be involved in it. It's like there's certain kinds of porn that I shouldn't look at because, it's not my cup of tea. I should not be around this. And even Dave Chappelle, the fact that he quit his job because he thought the wrong people were laughing for the wrong reasons. They weren't laughing with him, they were laughing at him and laughing at the black portrayals that he made. Then yeah, he did the right thing and he stopped. He stopped giving them fodder to laugh at that stuff. And it, in terms of free speech and blah blah blah, yeah, if you're gonna have the type of violent porn that is out there, people who want to do it and people who want to see it, they have the right to see it. And same thing with Dave Chappelle, I guess. A review like this, I disagree with it. Um, but it exists so that people would know. Don't patronize Dave Chappelle if you find these kinds of things to be offensive. And I guess all the guy is saying in this piece is that, hey, this is not my cup of tea, and that's fine. Um, I think that his speaking on the behalf of LGBTQ people. Um, yeah, that's fine too. That's his opinion. And there's some people in the community who would laugh at that and are probably great fans of Dave Chappelle and don't think that he punches down at all. So I guess everybody's given their 2 cents, and I'm giving mine. If you listened, thanks. Have a good one.